This is the brand new Rode Wireless Pro, and in my opinion, the only wireless mic option you should consider in any price category for content creation. And I'm going to tell you all the reasons why. Now, if you followed my channel for a while, you know that audio is extremely important to me. And if this is your first time seeing any of my videos, audio is extremely important to me. Then comes along this thing, the Rode Wireless Pro, and what they have done with this unit is just, in my opinion, game-changing. And I hate using that word because I feel like we use it for so many things, but it really is revolutionary just how much they have packed into this little tiny unit. And I ultimately feel that it's the perfect unit no matter what type of content you create. First of all, you have a very hassle-free, easy to use, no sort of thinking required wireless unit. You turn these on, they automatically connect to one another, they find the best channel, there's no sort of frequency changes, they're very reliable when it comes to wireless. You simply throw one side on your camera, you throw this on a person or a lav to it, there's two different units, straight to this, boom, wireless, it works. The new Rode Wireless Pro has an even longer range than the previous Go 2 model that they had, which is already a huge upgrade because anytime you can get more reliable wireless with an even further distance is great. Rode went a step further and said, we're going to give you really, really good wireless that is reliable, hassle-free, good quality, and you can use it for that purpose directly in your camera and never sync anything. But we're also going to give you an incredible backup that in the unlikely event that your wireless didn't record how you wanted, well, we're going to give you internal recording on the units themselves. Now, you actually have 32-bit float recording built into the units at the press of a button. There's now an LED on here that shows you that you are recording this source and it's recording in 32-bit float. Now, if you're unfamiliar with 32-bit float, it is essentially raw audio. So we've all been there when we're recording a talent, for example, on video, and the person does a sound check for their levels, and then they get into their video and they start screaming or they start whispering and your levels are all over the place. And worst case scenario is the audio gets so loud that it clips. And when you clip a microphone, unless you have really good software in post, it's really hard to ever get that audio to sound good again because it's gone and it's damaged. With 32-bit float, it records all the information of all sides of the decibels of that audio file. So if it's too low, you can bring it up with no additional noise floor. And if it's way too high, you can bring it right down and you're bringing all the original audio back with no clipping whatsoever. Now, 32-bit float in general is an incredible feature, and that's on many other devices. This is the first device that has it built in while simultaneously also being able to give you wireless recording. So now you have an incredible standalone recorder with 32-bit float that also is wirelessly sending directly to the camera. So if everything goes as planned on your shoot, and you did it exactly how you wanted to and there was no wireless interference whatsoever, well, it's all synced up and perfectly ready to use in the camera. But if it isn't, or if the levels were way stronger than you thought, well, 32-bit float in the background. But what's cool is that if you decide, hey, the wireless side of things is not even what I care about, and I just really care about the 32-bit float and the built-in recorder, well, you can also do that. This doesn't even need to be connected to this receiver at all, and you can literally just use this as a standalone recorder. You could simply hit record, put this in a talent's pocket, or use this as the mic itself if you choose to use it that way, and you have 32 gigs of available storage, which is about, I think, 50 hours or so of 32-bit float recording, just built in to this tiny little device. I love the fact that with this, most times, and I mean 99% of the time, I've had zero interference issues when I use the Wireless Go's or Wireless Pro, but I can't tell you how comforting it is to know that I have a 32-bit float recording now happening simultaneously. And even the high-end wireless from Lectrosonics and Sennheiser and all these different companies, they don't have the backup recording built into it. So no question, that is the greatest upgrade that they've made to these new units. Let's say you're just using these as built-in recorders, but you still want to make sure that you can monitor the audio. In the past, for example, with the DR10Ls, where I would have the hardwired unit in someone's pocket. There's no way for me to actually monitor that channel, so I really just don't know if it's actually working. They were smart and they said, well, we'll let you record directly to these, and you can actually change the output on the receiver itself to be a headphone output instead. So you can literally just clip this on you, the person filming the videos, for example, and put headphones directly to this and have a wireless headphone source recording those two different audio feeds anywhere that you go. So if you know that the main thing you're trying to use these for is that 32-bit float recording, so you have total control in post, you don't care about it wirelessly going to the camera, you still can just plug in and change one setting to make it be a headphone amplifier instead, and now you can monitor those channels anywhere you are. That's just such a cool little feature. Like, being able to monitor audio is huge, and in the past you'd have to use some sort of external device and big bulky Zoom F6 or something you're carrying around monitoring those channels. Now you can just monitor them right from this little unit. A couple other things that I absolutely love. They now finally put a twisting locking connector on for lav mics, which I think is incredible, and I'm so glad they did that. The last thing you want is that it accidentally gets disconnected, and no matter how good the wireless is, if it doesn't have a mic connected, it's not going to sound good. You also can use these directly as the microphones, and I'll do an audio test for you so you can hear what they sound like. They actually do sound really nice on their own. Now, I know there's this huge new trend where I'm seeing people actually use these microphones like this in videos. I'm not a huge fan of that trend, but they do have nice sound quality. And what is nice about these units compared to so many other units is you don't have to plug a lav mic into this. You could actually just use this as your microphone if you chose. I look at the built-in mic as kind of just an additional little pro and feature that is nice to have because no other wireless mic has that. Now, do I love this trend? Not really. Rode also makes this little handy-dandy handheld microphone here where you just put the little mic right underneath this little guy, and now you have a little street type of interview. I feel like a news reporter right now, but these things are awesome. And this is what it looks like underneath. So right away, 32-bit float, backup recording, built-in microphone. Some great features already, but there's more. Knowing that you basically can take these out of their case and they're going to be charged in the same place that they store is awesome. It's just like AirPods or just like all these other built-in charging cases. I love that feature because it's nice knowing whenever you're storing the device, it's charging the device. Because every time you take it out, it's charged. That's awesome. Then as soon as you pop it out of the case, bam, turns on, connects, boom, ready to roll. Now, as though all those features aren't nice enough and already good enough for a $399 price point, they also gave you 2 lavs with the unit. Now, I'm personally a fan of the Countryman lavs more than these lavs, but to give you an indication of what they sound like, let me show you. So this is a lav test straight into the Rode Wireless Pro with the built-in lavs. There's no audio processing at all on this clip. And listen to what they sound like. They're pretty decent sounding lavs for the fact that they're included. Rode could have very easily made this whole unit $399 and didn't give you the lavs, and it still would have been a good deal. The fact that they gave you 2 lavs with it, I think is just a huge bonus for anyone who doesn't have their own lavs already, because this is already going to get you much better quality than using probably the built-in microphones on these, because you have a more professional setup as well. I also like it because the mics are decent enough that now they're backups for me when, the unlikely event that my Countryman stop working for some reason. This is the only wireless out of all those price categories that we talked about that also can be connected directly to your phone or your iPad or your computer and used as the audio source for that as well. We live in a content creation world where it's so important to be able to capture content quickly, and the fact that you have USB-C and Lightning included in this, and you simply connect this directly to your phone, no setup whatsoever needed on an iPhone, and you just use this great sounding audio directly to an iPhone clip, is amazing. And what's even greater about it is that now on the units themselves, they have what's called AGC, which is auto gain control. Now, I'm a person that prefers to set my levels manually, but with the new 32-bit float, you don't even have to do that at all. You can basically have it on auto gain control at all times, never do an audio check, just start talking and doing your thing. It's going to do a really good job, and And if it really messes up and gives the audio not how you want it to sound, you just use that 32-bit float recording file, and then it's going to sound great. But the fact that there's no setup, you plug this right into your phone and just start using it, is just another huge feature that these can do that really no other units can. Rode just makes it easy. So maybe you're working with a talent that is wearing a t-shirt and you think to yourself, well, I don't have buttons that I can put a lav on. I don't really want to put it up on their collar. So like, what would I do then? Don't worry. They've thought about that as well. Magnets. Pop this right on the back, put the magnet underneath the person's shirt. Looks a little ridiculous, but you get the point. You don't even need something to clip it on. They thought of everything. I could talk about these units forever. I was so excited when they announced them because all the little tiny things that they made as the new features are exactly what I was hoping for when I used previous models. All the different issues over the years that I've had when it comes to wireless are now solved because I get a good wireless, but more importantly, I get a really good backup recording, all with 32-bit float now. I get charging built in, so I never have to worry about them being dead when I get to a shoot. It's just such a convenient little device at an incredible, incredible price point. So overall, I think this is no question the mic setup and wireless setup that nearly everyone should actually buy. Until another company puts this many features into units this small and affordable, I just don't know how I could recommend something else to anybody. So all in all, well done, Rode. This thing's awesome.